I thought about tourism in Baltimore. How come, like, it's not. Man, I remember, you know, not to be nostalgic even. So I'm going to just say 10 years because I think nostalgia would be like 20 years or more ago. But like 10 years ago even, you know, the harbor used to be popping downtown, man. You used to go down the, not even going down, but like I'm talking about as a person that lives here and I can look at the harbor in downtown and look at it and say, yo, these out-of-towners are having fun down here. I will honestly say it's probably been about 15 years where I could really see that. Really. And I haven't seen that for a very long time downtown. I just haven't seen it. Downtown is also one of those areas where it's a very broad area to just be like, yeah, downtown. And mostly what you really mean for tourist wise. Everything that I'm saying in this is for tourist reasons only, right? So tourist only really attraction is the inner harbor, right? But if you think about the harbor now as opposed to, let's use 10 years as a marker. As opposed to 10 years ago, they used to have a ride the ducks. You could ride the duck thing around the city. We'll show you around. Obviously you got the water taxi, but they used to have like these other boats that took you out, and they kind of still do, but it's if I were an out-of-towner, my first thing wouldn't be let's go to the science center. So that's kind of out, right? The aquarium is nice, cool, great. The gallery, there's literally nothing there anymore. Like they've gutted the gallery to where there's barely even any shops there, right? And there's been so much contention as to what to put there because of the old owners that they haven't put anything there, right? They've revitalized kind of sort of the area in a landscape type of way where if you're outside and you're looking, it's more aesthetically pleasing, but it's nothing to actually do. Even the Light Street Pavilion side of the gallery used to be a lot of eateries. Fudgery used to be there, which is a mainstay of where a lot of R&B acts kind of took off and people would sing, and like that has been completely gutted as well. There are no shops, there's no restaurants there. Most of all the restaurants that's in that area have gone, shut down, or just not what they used to be. So my question is, what would a tourist come here to see? What are they coming downtown to do? And when I say downtown, once again, I mean the harbor. Because if I were a tourist, there's no other parts of downtown Baltimore that I would want to even see or visit. And I'm not being, I don't know what the word is for like a person that lives here that just doesn't see it, Obviously, it's more shops if you go to like Belvedere Square or Mount Vernon or something like that. But really, that's kind of for locals, you know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about if I were a tourist. You know how people go to Orlando, Florida for Disney World? They don't go to Orlando, Florida for anything else besides Disney World, SeaWorld, and Universal Studios. That's the only 3 reasons anybody's going to Orlando, Florida, right? No disrespect to Orlando, Florida. None. 0. But those are your key reasons. Those are your key takeaways, right? Ask yourself, what are the key reasons somebody's coming to Baltimore, Maryland? And the only factors of which they have to say is, well, the harbor's nice, but it's not. And, that's really But the harbor's not that nice, you know? It used to be nice. It was nice. There's nothing there anymore. There's no restaurants really there anymore. There's no shops there anymore. And even if you look at Harbor East, to me, Harbor East is for the locals. Harbor East is for us. It's for people that live here. Harbor East isn't for out-of-towners. So I don't really see much for out-of-towners to come here and do. They got the Ripley's, believe it or not. I haven't been there personally. You know why? Because it's for tourists, right? Like, I haven't been there at all. Maybe if you got kids or something, you take your kid to it. But it looks like it looks small. It doesn't, it looks like it probably holds somebody's attention for 15 minutes. It's probably expensive. You know, I honestly think the aquarium is probably the best bang for your buck you're going to get in the area. And that's not even saying a lot, really. The aquarium is great, but, you know, probably to take your whole family to the aquarium is going to cost you upwards of $200. And after that, then what? You know, now where are we going? It's not a lot of stuff around it that's built around the actual area that you could go to. And then I just don't really see it, you know. And once again, it's just been a lot of contention about the owners of the gallery and what they're going to do with that space and the spaces surrounding it. So that's if the owners sell and somebody else comes in, then it becomes a thing of this. Are we going to keep this building, or are we going to do new construction? If we're going to do new construction and tear this whole thing down and start from scratch, we're looking at another 3 to 5 years before it's even anything that's going to be there. So that's another 3 to 5 years where tourism is down and things are looking bleak and things are looking bad again, you know? And that's why a lot of crime's taking place in the city. Opportunity isn't there. The same opportunities that were there 10 years ago are gone. Those opportunities are gone, man. I mean, if you could just think about the food court that used to be in the gallery alone. The food court used to have at least 15 shops in the food court. How many employees did those shops employ? Let's say each shop employed 10 to 12 people. That's almost 100 some odd people that don't have employment anymore because the area is now, I don't know, I would say changed, but it hasn't changed. Even the McDonald's that was on Baltimore and Light Street forever. That McDonald's was there my whole life. And you know, how many employees? It was a 2-story McDonald's. How many people did that McDonald's employ at a time? You know, probably 20 people at a time. So now you've closed down that location, and it's just you leave people without opportunity, and you leave people without choices and chances, you know, to make it. Where they do have to travel further, and they do have to find different means to get work, you know, even if it's not, you know, even for minimum wage work. Now, when I could just go downtown, now I might have to go all the way to White Marsh to get a job, or I might gotta go, Lord knows, if you don't have a car and you gotta go to Columbia or something to get a job, man. It leaves people in a bind, in a tough situation, you know. So I don't really know what tourists come here to do. You know, I look at a lot of stuff, even shops on Light Street and stuff. It's like that's for the locals, man. Like, and then even with a lot of those, like, okay, if they're food places, after we get food, then what? You know, then what? You know, if you go to New York for touristy stuff, New York has Times Square. New York has museums. New York has a lot of tradition and history and just places that tourists can go. Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty, you know, the list goes on and on. But like, from just looking at Baltimore, I'm like, well, you're not really giving people reasons to come here and visit. You're actually deterring people. One other thing that we kind of gotta stop this thing about these wheels that's picking up the trash out of the harbor, and you telling me how much trash they keep picking up out of the harbor? We gotta stop that shit, man. You can't keep telling me how much trash they're picking up out of the harbor, and then like I'm not seeing any type of difference in the watercolor of the harbor. So I get it that you're picking up a lot of trash out of the harbor. That's great. That's fantastic. That's amazing. But what's the catalyst here? Like, have we? Obviously, I don't know. But have we talked to marine biologists? Have we talked to experts in the field that would tell us why this water is so murky? What would it actually take to fix this issue? This green murky brownness that we have in this harbor water is it's a problem, and you keep telling me how much trash and waste that you're picking up from these spinny wheels, and you keep giving them all these fanciful names, but the water is not making any significant changes, So at what point do we say we have enough analytics that we can say that this is not actually going to solve the clarity of the water? That we have a problem with the bacteria in the water, we have a problem with silt in the water, or we have just it's just unsettled, or it's too much water meeting mud, and it's something's going on, right? So something needs to actually happen in that way, because when you look at our harbor, which is a natural harbor, and that's fine, and then you look at a manufactured harbor like National Harbor, you kind of got to go, whoa, wait a minute. National Harbor is man-made. It's completely artificial, right? But it looks better. They have way better shops, way better. It's actually a better setup too, right? Because it's not even in the way. It's off. Right? It's way out of the way. It's not like boop, smack dab in the middle of DC. You can't move. And no, National Harbor is kind of tucked off to the side, and you can just enjoy. You have you a good time. Parking is fine. Traffic's not an issue. It's just it's way better constructed and thought out. And now, onto the other issue of traffic. Traffic is a terrible, 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 terrible problem, right? Even on days when there's no baseball game, traffic is horrific. Traffic, you will literally be in traffic and you can see 4 lights up, and the traffic light that you're at is red and the rest of them are green. So then by the time you get to the next traffic light or the next one, that one's red, and then the next one's red. So then you're literally waiting almost 10 minutes to go like 4 blocks. Traffic is an issue. And I was at an event, a city event, and somebody literally was touting themselves and giving themselves praise because one of their friends told them that the traffic situation in Baltimore was great, an out-of-towner. And you know how you could just tell when somebody lying? Like it just sounded like a lie. And I know it's a lie. I live here. I'm in traffic all the time. And it was just a lie. Traffic here is horrendous, and it's an issue. Especially downtown, especially on Pratt Street, especially on Liberty Road, especially on Frederick Road. Those are. But if I'm just keeping it all downtown, Pratt Street is just is one way. It's jam-packed. Sometimes it's 3 lanes, but it's mostly only 2 lanes. And then if you got the traffic coming off of Conway Street and coming down Light, before a light turns into a one-way. It's horrific. Martin Luther King. If you're trying to go down Martin Luther King and get on the highway, and man, traffic is. So these are the issues. Those are the issues. Those are the problems. And I really don't see anybody like addressing those problems or fixing those issues. There was a big article written about how the traffic lights were a problem and they fixed it, but then somebody changed it back to the way that it was. So they addressed the issue. Somebody knows that like the traffic light changing is a problem, but then they fixed it and then they changed it back. Like, these are the things that I'm talking about that's just out of hand and just will, it's gonna lead us back to the Stone Age, you know? Like, I'm all about progression and the future and moving forward, and these things will hinder us and hold us back. And it's so much more I could really say on the topic, but I don't really want to be sitting here for another 30-40 minutes, man. Just hammering away at a lost cause, you know. But I mean, these issues are so glaring and so apparent that it's really sad, you know, because you can clearly see like what would make things better. But the powers that be don't want to, they're too stubborn to actually make those changes. And there's so much wrapped up in bureaucracy and political red tape that nobody will really, once again, it's that ego, you know. That ego, man, it eats away at people. And I think if people could do away with ego and really like just sit back and say, you know, what will be the best for the constituents? What will be the best for the citizens? What will be the best for tourism? You know, tourism will drive, you know, revenue up so much for the town. You know, it'd be ridiculous. But and God only knows where that money actually goes. So, but yeah, a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do.